Welcome everyone to another ink exploration video. We have a special ink by Robert Oster to share with you today, and this was actually a gift ink from someone on Instagram who follows me, and she thought that I would like this ink for a variety of reasons and felt that it would be wonderful to have in my ink collection, and she's right. So 3 reasons that she thought this would be a good ink. 1, because it's Robert Oster, and I really love Robert Oster. 2, it is named after a place here in Arizona called Antelope Canyon. And 3, it is a similar color to Ancient Copper by Diamine, which is one of my favorite inks. Today we're going to be reading an excerpt from Dracula by Bram Stoker. And had I been more prepared, I would have loved to have this out by Halloween, but alas, it is a little bit late. The pen I'm using is a dip pen, an antique pen from the mid-1800s, sterling silver body. It has not only a nib, but also a retractable pencil, and the finial serves as a sealing wax stamp. The paper is Tomoe River paper, 52 GSM by Nanami Cafe. Chapter 1. Jonathan Harker's Journal, kept in shorthand. 3rd May, Bistritz. Left Munich at 8:35 p.m. on May 1st, arriving at Vienna early next morning. Budapest seems a wonderful place from the glimpse which I got of it from the train and the little I could walk through the streets. I feared to go very far from the station, as we had arrived late and would start as near the correct time as possible. The impression I had was that we were leaving the west and entering the east. The most western of splendid bridges over the Danube took us among the traditions of Turkish rule. We left in pretty good time, and came after nightfall to Klausenburg. Here I stopped for the night at the Hotel Royal. I had for dinner, or rather supper, a chicken done up some way with red pepper, which was very good, but thirsty. Reminder, get recipe for Mina. I asked the waiter, and he had called it paprika Händel, and that, as it was a national dish. I should be able to get anywhere along the Carpathians. I found my smattering of German very useful here. Indeed, I don't know how I should have been able to get on without it. Having had some time at my disposal when in London, I had visited the British Museum and made search among the books and maps in the library regarding Transylvania. It had struck me that some foreknowledge of the country would be important in dealing with noblemen of that country. I find that the district he named is in this extreme east of the country, in the midst of the Carpathian Mountains, one of the wildest and least known portions of Europe. I was not able to light on any map or work given the exact locality of the Castle Dracula, but I found that Bistritz, the post town named by Count Dracula, is a fairly well-known place. I shall enter here some of my notes, as they may refresh my memory when I talk over my travels with Mina. In the population of Transylvania, there are 4 distinct nationalities: Saxons in the south, and mixed with them are the Wallachs, who are the descendants of the Dacians, Magyars in the west, and Sekelis in the east and the north. I am going among the latter, who claim to be the descendants from Attila and the Huns. This may be so, for when the Magyars conquered the country in the 11th century, they found the Huns settled in it. I read that every known superstition in the world is gathered into the horseshoe of the Carpathians, as if it were the center of some sort of imaginative whirlpool. If so, my stay may be very interesting. Remember, I must ask the Count all about them. I did not sleep well, though my bed was comfortable enough, for I had all sorts of queer dreams. There was a dog howling all night under my window, which may have had something to do with it. Or it may have been the paprika, for I had to drink up all the water in my carafe and was still thirsty. Towards the morning I slept and was wakened by the continuous knocking at my door, so I guess I must have been sleeping soundly then. I had for breakfast more paprika and a sort of porridge of maize flour, which they had said was called mamaliga, an eggplant stuffed with forcemeat, a very excellent dish, which they called impletata. Remember, get recipe for this also. I had to hurry breakfast, for the train started a little before 8, Or rather, it ought to have done so, for after rushing to the station at 7:30, I had to sit in the carriage for more than an hour before we began to move. All day long we seemed to dawdle through the country, which was full of beauty of every kind, little towns or castles on top the steep hills, such as we see in old missals. Every station there were groups of people, sometimes crowds, and in all sorts of attire. Some of them were just like the peasants at home, or those I saw coming through France and Germany, with short jackets and round hats and homemade trousers. But others were very picturesque. The women looked pretty. They had all full white sleeves of some kind or another, and most of them had big belts with lots of strips of something fluttering from them like dresses in the ballet. The strangest figures we saw were the Slovaks, who were more barbarian than the rest, with their big cowboy hats, great baggy dirty white trousers, white linen shirts, and enormous heavy leather belts, nearly a foot wide, all studded over with brass nails. They wore high boots with their trousers tucked into them, and had long black hair and heavy black mustaches. They are very picturesque, but do not look prepossessing. It was on the dark side of twilight when we got to Bistritz, which is a very interesting old place, being practically on the frontier, for the Bargo Pass leads from it into Bukovina. It had a very stormy existence, and it certainly shows marks of it. Count Dracula had directed me to go to the Golden Krone Hotel, which I found, to my great delight, to be thoroughly old-fashioned, for of course I wanted to see all that I could of the ways of the country. I was evidently expected, for when I got near the door I faced a cheery-looking elderly woman in the usual peasant dress. When I came close she bowed and said, "The Herr Englishman?" "Yes," I said, "Jonathan Harker." She smiled and gave some message to an elderly man in white shirt-sleeves, who had followed her to the door. He went, but immediately returned with a letter. "My friend, welcome to the Carpathians. I am anxiously expecting you. Sleep well tonight. At 3 tomorrow, the diligence will start for Bukovina. A place on it is kept for you. At the Bargo Pass, my carriage will await you and bring you to me. I trust your journey from London has been a happy one, and that you will enjoy your stay in my beautiful land. Your friend, Dracula." And with that, I will take my leave. Thank you all for watching and listening. I hope that you enjoyed this video and the book. I will see you all in the next video. Happy writing!